Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome in. I'm Chris Phillips. He is Anthony Ranaudo. This is Glue Guys here on this Thursday, March the 12th, as we talk all things SEC baseball 24/7, 365. An exciting show today because at long last, conference play is officially here. 8 conference series will take place this weekend and over the next 10 weekends as the men begin to separate themselves from the boys and we start to figure out who is who in the best conference in all of college baseball. All that much more, taking, of course, also your questions, your comments, everything in between. Really exciting show here on this Thursday, guys. Before we get going, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at Underdog. Download the Underdog app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that's promo code SECU with our friends at Underdog to get $75 in bonus entries today. I am Chris Phillips. He is former 2009 national champion with the LSU Tigers and former big leaguer Anthony Ranaudo. We are Glue Guys, and conference play on the diamond in the SEC is officially here. We're going to be locking in some picks, locking in some predictions, and breaking it all down. Of course, we'll also begin the show by talking about what went down in the midweek across the SEC. Anthony, once again, man, appreciate you taking the time. Really excited, my friend. I know we obviously started this journey about a month or so ago, but it almost feels like, Anthony, dare I say, we're starting a new season today. A new season. You know, what you did in conference play has obviously laid the foundation to what's about to begin, but you can right the ship or your season can go a completely different direction depending on what you do over the next 10 weekends. Excited to navigate it all with you, my friend.
Yeah, dude, it's Christmas come early, right? Like, this is the best time of year, conference play. 8 games on the schedule for us. It's going to be great. Yeah, this is the best. Yeah, and the fun part is, like, I'm such a nerd with this shit. Like, I love breaking down the games. But when you have different strengths of schedules and conferences and things like that, it really does muddy the water. So this is a lot of clarity for us, and this is going to be fun. So, yeah, I'm really excited.
Also, I want to start off the show, Anthony, by saying thank you to Team Italy for helping out Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. We really appreciate that. I guess we will excuse Mark DeRosa for not understanding how the format works. So
that's
a lot on his plate, but I would have probably kept that one to myself. So
yeah, that's so crazy.
That was a tough look. That was a tough look for the U.S. folks, but hey, we're still alive. Thank you. Yeah. Team Italy. Really quickly, guys, before we get going, a couple of things I do want to highlight. Number one, Friday Night Spikes will be back tomorrow night. Yours truly will be back on Friday Night Spikes. Unless there's something I don't know, I would expect our friend Anthony Ranaudo to be there as well. So going to be an exciting one, obviously. The first Friday night in conference play, we're going to have tons of games to react to. The fun thing about this slate, by the way, Anthony, the games are all at night, so we don't have a crazy slate where it's like games are at 2 p.m., 3 p.m., whatever. We're going to get them essentially all at the same time, so we'll get to react to them essentially all at the same time. Going to be a lot of fun. Highly encourage you to come out to that. 8 o'clock Central is where you can check out Friday Night Spikes, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You guys know the drill. Also, really quickly, I know it's not on the baseball side of things, but March Madness, guys, essentially is officially here. We are operating an SEC Unfiltered Outlaw Beer Collab March Madness Bracket Challenge, in which we're going to give away an SEC Unfiltered care package and an Outlaw Beer care package, which includes a cooler. I will be posting a picture of that on social media, but this cooler is badass. It is a very, very cool cooler. So just figure we do something fun. Everybody's filling out a bracket. Why not do something fun with our folks over at Outlaw Beer and collaborating with them next weekend in Nashville? If you're in or around the city of Nashville, we will have a March Madness HQ. There's a good chance, Anthony, I'm going to be doing this show with you live from a bar in Nashville because we're teaming up with our friends at Slider House, which is in Midtown. They're going to be having great specials, beer specials. I think they're doing like $3 tall boys and $12 tall boy buckets and food specials and all kinds of stuff, because we're going to be posted up there as our HQ watching March Madness literally all weekend, Thursday through Sunday, obviously keeping a close eye on the SEC. So a lot of exciting things. Obviously, this is an exciting time of year to be a sports fan with not just SEC baseball conference play, but of course, March Madness getting going starting next weekend. Of course, we've got Selection Sunday this Sunday, so a lot of exciting stuff that is in the pipeline for us all. Really quickly, want to get into some of the comments, say hello to some of the folks that are tuned in. How about the first one's a Mizzou comment? I love this. BW Pro being Mizzou this weekend, hoping for an Auburn Tigers sweep. I thought it was a Mizzou comment. Turned out it was an Auburn comment. Either way, it's a about the Auburn-Mizzou series. I love that. I love that. All eyes on Como this weekend. Our guy Husker 77's in here. What's going on? Little Big Ten love. Jeremy Scott says, roll Tide, go Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. BW Pro says Jay Johnson should manage Team USA. Well, he's a little bit busy right now. So he's a little bit busy at the moment. Flipwell says, top of the morning. We appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. Running throughout Hilton Ladner, our Mississippi State crew. What's going on? Exciting series this weekend in Fayetteville. We get into
that's going to be a good one. Yeah,
it's going to be a really, really fun one. Travis, Texas has donkeys in the back end of the bullpen. Yes, they do. Again, that's a fun series this weekend. We'll talk about a little bit later into the show. Our guy, Travis Rowell, what's going on? Appreciate you tuning in. I know Travis a big Gamecock fan. He'll have his eyes on Gainesville this weekend. Landon Griffith, hook 'em. Rojas, say win. Yeah. I'm excited for that Friday night matchup between Rio.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Hunter Elliott. So let's see. Clint says, morning, guys. I didn't like where LSU was in the power rankings. We will prove it this weekend. I hear you, but, I mean, Clint. At some point, you got to dock them. So maybe the power rankings will serve as the motivation for the LSU Tigers this weekend. We got some more Hail State love. Owen Willis, Hail State, time to take a series in Fayetteville. Again, that one's going to be awesome. I think that is definitely the series of the weekend. One final one, Anthony, before we get into it. Dylan says, hope my Vols can pull through this weekend. Dogs have been raking. Going to find out a lot about both teams. I agree. I agree with you. I agree 110%. That one's going to be fun. All right, Anthony, obviously the point here is we're going to get into conference play weekend number 1. Previews, predictions, breakdown. It's going to be a lot of fun. Before we do, though, let's not overlook what happened, Anthony, in the midweek, because we did have some noteworthy results. We had some teams that bounced back from some lackluster weekends and some teams that ran into some trouble on Tuesday night. Most notably, Florida does beat Florida State in one of the best rivalries in all of college baseball. I wish this was a weekend series, but it is what it is. They play that weird midweek thing where they scatter the games throughout the season. But Florida does beat them in the matchup in Gainesville. LSU bounced back. Anthony, I actually watched a lot of that game on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Very uneasy feelings early. Creighton was up in that ball game. How about the freshman? Is it Owen Cerna? I believe it is, the freshman catcher. Omar Cerna. That's it. He gets the big grand slam in that game. I forget the lefty's name too, but he looked great in relief. That dude was I think it's
Cooper. Was it Cooper Williams?
No, it was a Latin dude. It was a Latin guy.
Is it Paz, or is it?
No, it was a different one. I forget the kid's name. I honestly, some LSU fan in the chat, let me know, but he looked electric. I mean, absolutely electric. Either way, LSU bounced back and they got a much needed win. They needed something to feel good about. Texas beats Texas State. I thought that was one, maybe put Texas on upset alert. They had no issues with that one. Those are always really fun games, but Texas had no issue. How about Missouri winning their 13th straight ball game? Mizzou won their 13th
I kind of put it down that they were losing that game. Like, I thought they were losing that game. Dude, Mizzou bandwagon. I'm on it. I'm steering the ship. Like, oh my God, I cannot believe it. I really can't believe it.
13 straight wins, their latest being Southern Indiana 14-6 on Tuesday night. Who would have ever thunk it? Mississippi State beats Tulane 11-7, and the pair of losers we had on Tuesday night, Anthony, Ole Miss losing to Southern Miss, which I'll tell you this, my Southern Miss to Omaha pick is just looking better and better.
Yeah, I'd feel good about that.
Cruising through these midweeks, like. We'll see what they do in conference play, but they've stacked up some really impressive midweek wins. And then our friends over at South Carolina lose to the Citadel in Charleston 8-3, the final score. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it. Anthony, any big takeaways, anything major from the midweek that jumped out to you?
Yeah, I think how surprisingly dominant the league was on Tuesday, I guess Wednesday, because the Oklahoma game got pushed
Oklahoma
back.
played Wednesday.
Yeah. But I mean, there were we talked about it. I literally looked at the schedule and I think I commented, maybe, I don't know, but I thought if you would have told me there was 5 upsets this week, I wouldn't have been shocked. I think with teams just looking forward to SEC play, right? And some of the teams coming off last weekend. So I actually expected more losses, and not one of them coming from South Carolina. So again, that kind of loss is just a gut punch for me. That's been kind of, in the Maneri corner a little bit, being like, let's see what happens. But I'm like, dude, how do you freaking lose against Citadel? I just, so I don't know, that to me, I think just the dominance of Texas against Texas State, even little things like Kentucky dominating Ball State, just little things where I was like, oh, I thought those might have been 4-3 games, and so I don't know. That was my big takeaway. But again, I'm really looking forward. I'm going to be honest, I only watched a few games on Tuesday, and I'm ready for this weekend. I'm so locked.
Yeah, with SEC play on deck, I felt the same way, Anthony. Some other ones, by the way, I just highlighted over or glossed over. Bama beat Troy 7-3. Auburn dominated UAB 17-2. We thought that
was another one. That's what I'm saying. I thought that might have been a close game. UAB's had some quality wins, and I'm like, what, 17-2?
That game was 11-2 in the third inning. I mean, that just Auburn's lineup, everybody. Yeah, it was a great night to be a hitter for Auburn. You mentioned Kentucky beat Ball State 10-3. How about Tennessee beat Tennessee Tech 20-2?
They scored 9 in the first inning.
Yeah,
9 in the first inning.
Yeah, 9 spot in the first inning.
Yeah, those are the things that I was like, that could have been a good game. And then they dropped 9 in the first inning. I'm like, I was wrong.
Yeah. And then finally, Vanderbilt beats Indiana State 14-6. So again, a lot of teams feeling good about themselves, rolling into SEC play. What does it mean? Probably not a whole lot, but again, the more momentum, the more positive momentum you can stack, the better, especially if you're some of those like a Tennessee, like a Vandy, like a LSU, like a, that lost their Sunday game or what have you, or God forbid, lost a series, come out on Tuesday, get a win, rally the troops, have something to feel good about, because again, what waits for you this weekend is arguably, Anthony, the greatest 10-week stretch in all of sports. That is conference play in the SEC on the diamond. Before we get into it, really, really quickly, do want to tell you about our friends over at Underdog, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at Underdog, guys. And a real quick reminder, again, with college basketball season and March Madness officially here, fast breaks, buzzer beaters, block parties are back. Underdog's the best place to get in on all of the action. Playing on Underdog, super easy. Just pick whether your favorite players are going to go higher or lower in stats like points, rebounds, steals, and more. If you get your picks right, you're going to 5,000 times your cash. Like I mentioned, hey, how about conference play this weekend? Underdog's got college baseball, so you can choose higher or lower in that. But, of course, the SEC basketball tournament, March Madness. The games, I think, even start on Tuesday because you've got the play-in game. So make sure you get in on the action. Download the app today. Use promo code SECU to score $75 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. Once again, that's promo code SECU. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 and up, 19 up in Alabama, Nebraska, 19 up in Colorado for some games, 21 and up in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-MY-RESET or 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. All right, Anthony Ranaudo.
Let's do it.
Great developments, by the way, while on the show. Our friend Eric Reese, who does a fantastic job with our graphics, makes us look really, really cool with the work that he puts together.
Let's go.
He just sent over the Pick'em graphic for the week. You and I's picks for each of the 8 conference series. I'm going to save that to the end because I don't want to spoil it, but you guys will see it. And, of course, right after this show, it will be posted on social media. Anthony, because of these picks, it is a graphic that I think is going to break the internet. We are going to
I'm looking at some of your picks right now.
We're going to have fights in the comments, and I would have it no other way. Again, guys, like I mentioned,
you're going to hurt some feelings, yeah.
Oh, we're both going to hurt some feelings. Not much more needs to be said. Like I mentioned, the start of one of the greatest 10-week runs in all of sports, that being conference play in the SEC on the diamond, officially getting underway. So without further ado, Anthony, let's go ahead and lock in some picks, some predictions, and let's break down some of these series because we have got one heck of an opening weekend on the diamond in the SEC. Starting off with, Anthony, we got to start off with what I think is the series of the weekend. The number 5 Arkansas Razorbacks hosting the number 3 ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs. If you were a handicapper in Vegas, heck, I don't even know how you'd handicap this one. This feels like as much of a pick 'em and a coin flip as any. Obviously, this is the first road SEC series for Brian O'Connor. You've got that crazy home atmosphere at Baum Walker. Anthony, simply put, it doesn't feel like this is a series I have to spend a ton of time injecting hype into or trying to get you excited for, because this is elite on elite, man. This is going to have like a super regional Omaha matchup kind of vibe to it.
Exactly. I can't believe that we're getting this kind of quality matchup this early. That's so awesome. It was so hard for me to pick. There's so many different perspectives that you can take on this series. And so that's why I'm just so locked in on watching it. I'm excited for McPherson to face some real talent. No, I shouldn't say real talent. I'm saying a very talented team at that stadium in that environment. He's been able to pitch at home against some schools that are on the road early in the season. So that would be a really good test. I think Gabe Gackle against Mississippi State's lineup is going to be a real test for me. And then I think, which Hunter Dietz shows up is going to be a big swing, I think, in this series for me. So I'm excited. I'm going to have my popcorn ready for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch those Arkansas pitchers work against that state lineup, Anthony, admittedly. I think that's the one where I think I think Arkansas is going to have to score runs because Mississippi State's been so good swinging it. And you're right. I think that's, the overarching theme, too, you could put on every single team this weekend, and certainly depending on who you're playing. But, again, who are you really? We're going to really find out who you are, right? And, you give credit to, the Arkansas and the States of the world who have played in these non-conference tournaments, and that's all great. You've tested yourself, but these SEC weekends hit different, man. So, I think no matter which way you go in this series, I know Mississippi State has certainly looked sharper than Arkansas has at times. Certainly, you look at Arkansas last weekend, they split the series against Stetson. What does it really mean? Like I said, I'm here to tell you that, there's going to be teams that haven't looked necessarily great at this point, that they're going to come out, and they're going to come out with their hair on fire, and they're going to look awesome this weekend. There's going to be teams that have looked great, and maybe they're going to get humbled a little bit. I don't think a pick on either side in this series is a bad pick. Again, the matchup I'm most excited to watch and most intrigued by, because I do expect Mississippi State's arms to have success. I think McPherson leading it off, obviously, on Friday. I think he's going to set the tone. But like you said, Colin Fisher's been incredible for Arkansas. He's been great. What does Gabe Gackle give you setting the tone coming out of the gate? I'm very intrigued how the Arkansas pitching staff handles a Mississippi State lineup that they're right there near the top, if not at the top, Anthony, when it comes to batting average. So, again, for take it for what it's worth, obviously, to this point in the season. But they've been crushing, essentially, everyone. And you think about it, Anthony, like the tournament we were at in Arlington, they were the one lineup that actually got to UCLA. And that's one of the best pitching staffs in the country. And I get it was their Sunday rotation of arms, but still – I think this state lineup's for real. So how Arkansas's pitching handles them at home is going to be really interesting to me.
No, I think you said it perfectly. Mississippi State is technically leading the SEC going into conference play and batting average. They don't slug it as much as, Georgia, who's right behind them, but I think they face better competition than Georgia too. So again, that's a very potent lineup. And I think for me, the reason that I am leaning towards Mississippi State as the pick for me is because of the pitching, and I feel more confident with their 3 starters and their back end than I do with Arkansas. Arkansas has an edge at home, but for me, there's 2 Hunter Dietz, you saw, was number 5 or 6 or something in my top 10 power rankings. His last 2 starts are friggin' electric, and he's mid-90s from the left side. He is everything that you want in a starting pitcher, but his first 2 starts were a little shaky, right? So I think, for me, which Gabe Gackle shows up and then which Hunter Dietz shows up is that swing for me. And since they have 2 question marks for me in the starting rotation, that's why I'm leaning Mississippi State. But then you think about is that how you say it? Baumfield or what? I don't even know.
Baum Walker.
Baum Walker. But there's going to be 14,000 Pig Suey people out there. That's a different environment, right? So, that's going to be the matchup and the intriguing things for me to watch this weekend.
Yeah, and I think you have to be fair. It's the same conversation we'd be having, Anthony, but flipped. If this series was at the dude, you would factor in home field advantage. What do these SEC head coaches say? Win your series at home and just don't get swept on the road. That's why that adage exists, because of atmospheres like this. All right, let's get into a pick. You've already kind of teased it. You're leaning Mississippi State. Are you going with Mississippi State? That's your pick here.
I'm going Mississippi State. I'm on the Bulldogs. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm taking Mississippi State. That's my pick.
Anthony, I'm going to go Arkansas. This is the beginning of we're going to have some very fun debates on this show throughout the season. I'm going to go the Arkansas Razorbacks. I know Arkansas looked very sluggish and just didn't look great against Stetson. I think you're going to see a different Arkansas team this weekend. Definitely. I think Gabe Gackle puts together one of his best outings to set the tone for the weekend. I don't think it's a sweep on either side, but I think Arkansas at home. This is one of the reasons I picked Arkansas to win the league, because they're getting series like this in their backyard. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better setup if you're the Hogs. Again, I think the world of Mississippi State. I think I was hesitant on them coming in the season just because of a first-year coach. By the way, again, first SEC road series and first SEC series in general for Brian O'Connor. You talk about baptism by fire. I know he's been in some big-time venues and big-time environments and big-time series. This isn't his first rodeo, but in a way, Anthony, it kind of is. This is different. This is just different. So, either way is not a bad pick here. But give me the home team. I'm going to go Arkansas.
I like your pick. I really do. This was my hardest one to pick, and I could have went either way. And for what it's worth, Arkansas, again, it's similar. They face similar competition. They both did preseason tournaments, but their non-conference numbers, Mississippi State is giving up a full run more earned run average than Arkansas, and that to me says something in the non-conference, right? If you have a 3.75 ERA and you're in the bottom 5 of ERA in the SEC, in non-conference, what's going to happen in conference, so that's something to think about. And they're going to Arkansas, so something to think about. And if 2 of those 3 pitchers for Arkansas have their weekend, yeah, I think you're right. They could take it. They could, but we'll see.
Couple quick comments on this series. I love it, guys. I want y'all involved. Drew says Fayetteville is going to bring the passion and flow this weekend. Ryder Helfrich, Golden Spikes campaign begins. Yeah, they're going to need Ryder Helfrich to have a big weekend. Riley says State's batting 4th in the country in batting average at roughly a 360 average. Yeah, they're tearing the cover off the ball. It's already begun after one pick. Anthony Lindy says y'all are idiots. Listen, I never said I wasn't an idiot to a degree. So it's a lovable idiot. That's a lovable idiot. Dalton says Arkansas at home with a packed house is tough. No doubt. All right, let's go to our next series, Anthony. I want to go to Norman. We're going to jump around a little bit. I want to go to Norman. Again, by the way, we've got 3 ranked-on-ranked matchups this weekend. The 9th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Skip Johnson's got them in the top 10. Here come the 22nd-ranked Texas A&M Aggies, looking to get off to a hot start in SEC play. Anthony, Oklahoma's been electric on the mound. Cam Johnson's been phenomenal. Mercurius has been great for them. Here comes Texas A&M. Their only loss of the season is the beat down of UCLA. But again, that was over a weekend where a couple of teams got beat down by UCLA. Outside of that, they've been great. They've been swinging it well. One of the best lineups, I think, in the SEC. Got an update this morning, by the way, Anthony, in regards to the health of Texas A&M going into this weekend. Michael Early said this morning that both Chris Hakopian and Wesley Jordan will be available. Apparently, he said Hakopian got 5 live at-bats yesterday and hit a home run. So it does sound like it is going to be all hands on deck for Texas A&M. I think the big question for them, and we can talk about it, of course, what does the pitching staff look like with a Shane Sadeo leading the way and the rest of that weekend rotation? Your thoughts on this series, Anthony? What are the big matchups or the big storylines that jump out to you when it comes to Oklahoma and Texas A&M?
Yeah, to me, this is another one where Texas A&M's got to show me something. I think for me, they've done really a good job of throwing the ball. I like all their starters in their rotation. That was my big question mark for them. I think, and then health was the other one, right? Like Sorrell and Grohovic, how are they going to bounce back? And are they going to remain healthy all year and lead that charge? And if they did, we kind of felt pretty good about their offense, right? So and they have not disappointed from the offensive standpoint, and they've pitched it well from the starting pitching standpoint. When you get into SEC, for me, one of the things I haven't really looked at bullpen arms as much so far. That's one of the biggest differentiators, and we're talking about wins and losses, right? So that's what I'm looking for. Who are A&M's high leverage arms, but then also OU? Who are they using in those situations? Because we've talked about Cam Johnson, LJ Mercurius, and even Cord Rager on the weekend, right? But who are their go-to arms in these close games? Because it is going to be a close game. They're on the road. I don't think they're going to blow them out. I think that's what I've liked about the A&M pitching staff is their starters are good starters. They're not going to overpower you and be super sexy and all these things like some of the other arms in the league. But Shane Sadeo is going to be 91 to 94, from the left side with a good sweeper slider kind of combo. And he's going to strike out a batter an inning. He's not going to overpower guys and dominate with 10 strikeouts and 6, but he's going to keep them in the game. And when they're at home, in those games, that's the biggest thing that they need because they're one swing away from taking a lead, later in the game. So for me, I'm watching OU's high leverage arms, but I'm leaning OU because I like their starters and I think they're just that much more elite. And I like what OU has done offensively, and I think that they'll handle enough to score runs for their starters. So for me, I'm leaning OU. I know we haven't made our official picks, but I've been on the OU bandwagon since weekend one, right? I thought they were a top 10 team after that first weekend in Arlington. So I'm about as big of an OU fan as you can have in the SEC.
Does great pitching beat great hitting still? I think that is the question I'm excited to learn the answer to because, again, Oklahoma has been elite on the bump. I mean, they've been elite. Cam Johnson has wowed us coming out of the gate every single weekend.
That's my biggest show. That's what I cannot wait for. That's the biggest test.
I mean, unless I'm forgetting someone, Anthony, I don't think it's too bold to say this is the best lineup that Oklahoma will have seen all season, in my opinion. I don't think that's even up for debate. It's the best lineup Cam Johnson will have pitched against all season. So we're going to see good on good what gives. Again, I think the big thing I want to see is, for Cam Johnson, does he keep that same poise? Does he keep the same body language? Does the heart rate stay the same? Does he stay within himself and just keep doing the things he's been doing? And that's the question for a lot of these teams. Does it speed up a little bit? Does it get a little out of the ordinary, right? Like the heart, everybody's adrenaline's going to be pumping. It's kind of like opening day all over again. Either way, though, does great pitching beat great hitting? And what is this Aggies lineup able to do? I don't think, anything in regards to the past of like getting off to a hot start because of what happened last year. I think that's kind of faded, Anthony, because you sit here, I believe you're 15-1 overall. So I think that's not necessarily at the forefront. But when it comes to this series, when it comes to making a pick, also, this is the debut, I should add, Anthony, of Kimry Family Stadium. It is no longer L. Dale Mitchell Park, Kimry Family Stadium, because of the gracious donation by the Kimry family. Who wins this series, Anthony? Who's your pick?
I'm going OU. I think we find out who their high leverage guys are. I think we find out Cam Johnson, who he is, and I believe in Cam Johnson. I've always kind of been on that believer train of him even when he came to LSU. Obviously, he was so raw and needed a lot of work and stuff, but I think the kid comes from a good family and he's got the right intentions. And so I'm believing in Cam. I think OU takes it. And obviously I think LJ Mercurius is such a stud on Saturdays. I don't think anybody matches up Saturday wise against him. But for me, to your point, right? Cam Johnson, how's the heart rate going to be? How is it on the road against a true SEC powerhouse? And then LJ, last weekend, I kind of mentioned it. His stuff was just a little up and didn't have that same finish. His timing seemed a little off. He's like an overhead delivery guy, and it seemed like he was just a little off in his timing. So that for me is a big thing, which LJ Mercurius shows up. If it's the guy of the first 3 starts, I think they get that win on Saturday, and that wins the series for them, in my opinion. So I'm going OU, but I think it could be a good series.
Anthony, Texas A&M was the biggest disappointment, arguably, in college baseball last year. the entire narrative around them in the preseason, beginning of the season. Is it going to be more of the same? What is Michael Early? All these questions, blah, 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 whatever. Oklahoma, meanwhile, one of the best stories in college baseball to this point. Something's got to give. Give me Texas A&M to go in and pull the upset. I like the Aggies here. I think the lineup explodes this weekend. I think it's the best lineup that Oklahoma has seen to this point. I'm not saying they're going to score 15 runs a game, but I think you're going to see guys like Bear Harrison, Gavin Grahovic, Caden Sorrell, some others. I think the A&M lineup is going to flex their muscles a little bit. I think the pitching will do just enough. I think it's a little bit of a higher scoring weekend than expected. I think it's a little bit higher scoring than expected. Give me Texas A&M. Somebody's got to doubt Oklahoma. Hey, somebody's got to doubt Skip Johnson, right? I mean, they need this. They need the fuel.
I will not be that guy. So you can do it. I'm letting you take that fall. But I know what I'm watching on Friday and Saturday with those arms, and I'm like, oof, I don't know.
Early, and I think Weston Moss is a big key for Texas A&M. They need him to. They need him to pitch well. They really do. They need him to pitch well. But I like Texas A&M. Again, most all of these series, guys, feel like a coin flip. Like this is another one where I think like if it was at Bluebell in College Station, you'd probably feel a lot better on the A&M side. Like I do think, but I will say this, to be fair, Oklahoma fans, prove me wrong. I don't think home field advantage is a big factor here, Anthony.
This game's at Oklahoma?
This game's at Oklahoma.
Oh my God. Oklahoma's sweeping, dude. Oklahoma's sweeping. I thought this one was at A&M.
No, this is at OU. This is at OU.
All my money is on OU.
Give me the Aggies. I like the upset. All right.
I like it. All right. I like it. This is our first one where I'm like, oh my God, I am so confident that there's.
I like it. Give me A&M. I think the Aggies. I think the Aggies are winning the over. I think they could be the surprise team of the SEC this year. Anthony, let's go to Athens, Georgia. The 8th ranked Georgia Bulldogs hosting the 19th ranked Tennessee Vols. And I think the big question here, when it comes to this Georgia ball club, who are you on the mound? And that's the only question we have. We know you can rake. Dan Jackson's got 14 home runs or whatever it is. He probably hit a couple more in the midweek. Georgia's got over 60 bombs as a club. Maybe they even got to 70 or however many. They're in the midweek, like I mentioned. But Georgia's tearing the cover off the baseball as you'd expect. Is Volchko the guy on Friday? What does the rest of it look like? Can they pitch well enough to win at a consistent rate in the SEC? Meanwhile, Tennessee comes in. Got the big win in the midweek. Tennessee is one of the most interesting teams in this conference, Anthony, because, again, it's the question, what do you look like? Do we see Tennessee flip a switch? Like, do we see them – does that swagger come back? Does that – they've had it at times – but it also felt like, again, watch them in Arlington. It's like, where's the juice at? Where is that next gear at for Tennessee? Tennessee's pitching staff, Anthony, versus this vaunted UGA lineup is something I'm really, really excited to watch because if there's anything Tennessee has done this season, I think the lineup has sort of evaded them. The hitting has evaded them at times. They've pitched it really well. I mean, Tegan Coons has set the tone every single weekend. He has been dynamic on Friday, and then the rest of that weekend staff has followed suit. So you're going to get elite on elite when it comes to those Tennessee arms against the Georgia lineup. Anthony, what are you most looking forward to when it comes to Dogs and Vols in Athens?
I think this is the series the same way you asked, does good pitching, elite pitching beat elite hitting? And that's what it is for me, right? Georgia can swing it. Now, who they've played is my big gripe is like
nobody.
So like there's 60 homers. Like I got a little asterisk on that, like a little bit. They're playing at home. You know what I'm saying? They've played all their games at home. So for me, I'm a pitcher, right? I've had to believe that good pitching beats good hitting. So I've been very, very high on Tennessee's pitching staff. I'm very impressed with them. I think they're the most complete when we talk about stuff. And then going from, pitching a complete 9-inning game from starter to reliever with high leverage guys. They've played some high competition games. They've even invited Kent State and got, their ass beat a little bit at their home field against good competition. So I like Tennessee's staff against Georgia's hitters just because Georgia hasn't seen pitching like this year. So I think that might catch them off guard a little bit. Also, what is a little interesting for me, though, that I'm a little confused about and anxious to see how it shows up is Georgia's pitching hasn't been dominant for me the way that I was hoping for in our preseason when I picked them fourth or whatever to finish in the SEC. And Tennessee is in the bottom of the SEC, right now for batting average. So to your point, they're a young lineup that is, a little inexperienced. So I'm anxious to see how they show up at Georgia. Do they score enough runs to win those games? I don't know, but that's kind of what I'm looking for is the Tennessee staff to control the Georgia bats. And then does Georgia's pitching actually do its thing against Tennessee's limited offense right now and where they're at? So I don't know. That's kind of what I'm looking for storyline wise.
Yeah, Tennessee obviously looking for a jolt when it comes to the offensive production. Of course, they scored 20 runs against Tennessee Tech on Tuesday. Take it for what it's worth. Henry Ford was a guy that had 5 RBI in that game. They need him to be a dude, man. I mean, you got this guy in. You got this guy in from Virginia. You need him to carry your offense. Levi Clark came in as a pinch hitter. I think he's another guy that they really need to get going. He has been in an ultimate slump to start off this season. I mean, here's the thing, Anthony. When you play at Georgia, you're going to have to score. I mean, I agree with you. Great pitching beats great hitting. But, holding Georgia to, 6 or 7 runs at home is hey, we pitched pretty well today.
That's a win. That's
what's crazy about it. The way they swing it at Foley. Yep. And that's what's fun about these teams, too, by the way. If this series was at Lindsey Nelson, we'd be saying the same exact thing because both of those parks are bomb boxes. No disrespect, obviously, but they are both hitter-friendly parks. Let's not kid ourselves. Excited for the energy and the emotion and the atmosphere at Foley Field. This isn't one that's known as one of the most intimidating atmospheres in college baseball, but there was I don't know if you saw it, there was a post or a video circulating around this week of, I think it was Georgia in the postseason. They're all doing the clap at Foley, and everybody's everybody get out to Foley and make it. In Georgia, Tennessee, obviously they hate each other from the football stuff. So I am very, very pumped what the atmosphere is going to look like. But yeah, I mean, I think this series truly comes down to, does Georgia have enough horses in the stable? Because I have to think your mindset, if you're Tennessee, Anthony, is if we don't swing it well this weekend, it's a little bit, it's a red flag. It's a red flag. Georgia's a team you should be able to bang it around against and score some runs, because I think you're just going to have to. On that note, Anthony, let's make a pick. Thoughts on the series? Who you going with? Dogs or Vols?
This is crazy because in my preseason, right, I had Georgia way above Tennessee, and Tennessee was 12th or something. But I'm going the Vols. I think the Vols win the series. I think their pitching staff shuts down Georgia's hitters enough. And I surprisingly think Tennessee's bats bang against Georgia's pitchers, because for me, right, when I've been watching preseason pitching, I'm watching stuff. I'm watching how these guys attack certain hitters. And I don't love the way that Georgia's starting pitchers have attacked certain hitters. And Aoki, I kind of really liked going into last weekend. Then he gives up 5 earned runs, right? Volchko on Friday night, he just too many walks, 3 walks last outing. He's had his strikeout to walk ratio is a lot different than the other Friday night guys. He's not striking out as many as the other Friday night guys. So I just don't think there's as dominant pitchers on Georgia as we may have hoped for going into the year. And so I think Tennessee's bats meet that challenge. And I think that their pitching staff is good enough to shut down the bats enough. So I think Tennessee wins 2 out of 3.
Anthony, I hate the fact that you and I are both picking Tennessee here. I hate it. I'm like, how can we both go Tennessee here? It
feels bad. I feel like an idiot going, because if we look up and we're texting each other this weekend and I'm like, yo, Georgia's up 12-2, I'd be like, oh, we're idiots.
Yeah.
We're fucking
but I'm also going Tennessee. There's a part of me that really trusts those arms for Tennessee too. And my brain wants to believe, Anthony, that Tennessee is going to come out and we're just going to see a different version of them. To me, it's they've got to have another gear because this team is still really talented. But on the flip side, I'm like, damn, maybe we're not giving Georgia enough credit. But here's the problem again. Here's the issue. Georgia, this is your weekend. This is your weekend to prove to us and to everyone that, like, hey, we are worthy of that top 10 ranking that we have. Because, like, listen, you've taken care of business. You've played fucking nobody. You've played nobody. So go out there, go smack around a quality opponent, and then there will be a newfound level of respect for you. And I will tip the cap and happily eat crow. But at least I can say, Anthony, I've seen Tennessee get punched in the face. Like, I've actually seen them play someone up to their level and be tested.
Yep.
I wonder how Georgia's, because you got to think about it too, Anthony. Like, what's so valuable about when you have a great team, like when you played for LSU, or if you're on a great team like that, like, you have the confidence of your hitters being like, we're not going to see better pitching than what our guys are doing. Like, we have one of the best pitching stats in the country. Have Georgia hitters seen that? I don't know if they've seen the guys they're going to see this weekend.
I'm telling you no. I'm telling you that right now.
I don't think they have.
I don't think they have. And that's where, like, my prediction comes in on Friday night. I think they win a close one. I think Tegan Kuhns goes out there and they have never seen an arm like that. To me, he literally is an electric version of Bronson Arroyo, like funky, athletic, but 93 to 97. And I don't think Georgia guys have seen that. So I think if he can hold them under 3 runs or less, I think they go to their bullpen and they win that game. I really do. I think the big swing game for me is going to be which Landon Mack shows up on Saturday. Do we get Landon Mack that shoves in 6 2/3 and strikes out 10 and only walks 1? Or does he strike out 6 in 5 and, or 4 2/3 and walk 3 or 4 guys? In that case, I think Georgia clips him enough and they win that second game, and then it's a toss-up on Sunday. And that's where I like Evan Blanco, and give me a lefty that might be able to throw some changeups and sliders and trick fuck some guys, and be able to win that game on Sunday. So, but again, if Joey Vulcio comes out and he's 94 to 97 with that hammer, and he's punching out everybody on Friday night, and you and I are like texting being like, wow, okay, well, that was a different Joey Vulcio that we've seen, and Tennessee is who we thought they were, then it bodes bad for Tennessee, So I don't know. That Friday game is a big one for me. I'm excited for it.
It may not be the headliner series, Anthony, but it might be the most fun series of the weekend. It's going to be a really good one.
That's a really good take right there. Yeah, it's going to be the most fun.
I got a feeling it's going to be a little wacky. Sandman, by the way, a couple of comments, is Tennessee orange with the trash can emoji. We've also got Randy Etheridge, Tennessee period with the trash can emoji. Texas Rock says Tennessee orange is feminine. All right. Let's keep it down. Let's relax. No cheap shots are necessary. Texas Rock says Georgia's only played the cupcakes that get bullied by other cupcakes. Wow. How dare you throw Oakland into that category? Come on. They played Oakland.
Don't disrespect my Oakland.
Take it easy on the Oakland boys. All right, on that note, let's get to, Anthony, the Texas Longhorns, the second-ranked Horns host the Ole Miss Rebels coming to town with that vaunted lineup. Ole Miss, of course, coming off the midweek loss to Southern Miss. What does it really mean? You can decide for yourself. Anthony, Texas has looked insane. I mean, they're one of the last undefeateds in college baseball. We've ranted and raved about them and praised them at every turn. We have nothing bad to say about them. Everything is peachy and great. And all of a sudden, here comes this Hornet, I feel like, that's Ole Miss, that could change the vibe very quickly.
Wow.
Depending on if a couple things happen. We're not at the picks yet, but could change it's a dangerous Ole Miss team, right? This is the beginning, by the way, of their insane schedule that many called before the season, the toughest schedule in college baseball history, if you can believe it or not, which I don't know how you'd quantify that, but it's certainly a difficult SEC slate, having to go to Dish Falk. Anthony, thoughts on this series? I don't think this is as simple as like, man, Texas has just rolled through everybody. They're going to roll through this one. I don't think we see a sweep this weekend. I think Ole Miss is dangerous enough to come in here and take a game. I think they're dangerous enough to win the series. I really do. When you got a guy like Hunter Elliott on Friday night, which the Elliott-Riojas matchup is going to be it's going to feed families. It's going to be awesome to watch. The Cade Townsend kid as well on the weekend. You got enough in the lineup, I think, to cause some chaos if you're Ole Miss and make things, maybe do something to Texas that hasn't been done this season really at all, which is put them in an uncomfortable spot. I don't know if Texas has really been made all that uncomfortable yet. your thoughts on this series this weekend. I know you're high on the Horns, but this one's interesting. This one's at least interesting.
Yeah, and I've also been high on Ole Miss too. So for me, I think the biggest thing, I kind of mentioned it in my power rankings. I wouldn't be surprised if Cade Townsend takes over the Friday night spot eventually, just because Hunter Elliott's command issues right now are a little bit of a concern for me. So for that's what I'm looking for. If Hunter Elliott continues to struggle with command, Texas is just too good. They're going to wait him out. They're going to get him out of the game. And that's going to put Ole Miss in a position of having to use arms early in the weekend series. So I think that's one of the biggest things for me is, does Hunter Elliott throw strikes? Is Texas's approach more of a wait and see and who's going to show up Friday night for Hunter Elliott? Because we know what you're going to get from Riojas for the most part, right? In his 4 starts, he's been damn near electric. And so that's the biggest thing for me. But if Ole Miss can knock Riojas out of the game in the 6th inning and get to their bullpen, I think Texas is still figuring out who their high leverage guys are, right? So that would be Ole Miss's advantage, I think. If they can get to Riojas, get to those bullpen pieces, Elliott's throwing strikes and keeping them in the game, I think that's how they could win this series, right? Because I think they win the game on Saturday. I really do. I think Cade Townsend's about as solid as it comes as a starting pitcher. And they've had some questions with Luke Harrison, right, with Texas right now on Saturday. So that's where I think we could really see some things that are unexpected. And then when, Texas throws out Dylan Volantis on Sunday, that gives them a nice advantage for the series for me. So we'll see how it all shakes out ultimately, but it's going to be a fun series for sure.
That Volantis start, Anthony, is so intriguing because I think you and I talked about it either in the preseason or at some point early season. You could argue that Sunday guy, especially now that we're into SEC play, you could argue he's the most important guy on the weekend because he's doing one of 3 things: trying to secure a sweep, trying to avoid a sweep, or more often than not, he's trying to win a series. So yep. Dylan Volantis, very, very – I mean, and here's the thing. If it gets to that point, Anthony, Sunday, and you're at 1-1, you feel pretty good with exactly. Dylan Volantis. There ain't many guys in the country on a Sunday that are going to match up with him. All right, let's make a pick. What's your pick for the series? Number 1, does Texas stay unbeaten? Number 2, if not, do they win the series or does Ole Miss pull the upset? What's your pick for the weekend, my friend?
I don't have the balls to go upset with Ole Miss, but I think they get a win. I think they give Texas their first loss, and I think it comes Saturday. I really do. That's what I think. I'm just very high on Cade Townsend. Again, we'll see what he's really made of against that lineup, because I genuinely believe Texas has 5 major league hitters in that lineup, and we're going to look back in 5 years and just think how silly this lineup is. I really do believe that. So I think Texas wins on Friday. I think Ole Miss can win on Saturday. And to your point, Dylan Volantis, give me Texas on Sunday, and I think they win the series.
Anthony, after hyping up the potential of an Ole Miss upset, and I think it could happen, I'm also going the Texas Longhorns.
I thought you might have picked Ole Miss. That's crazy.
No, I'm going Texas to take 2 or 3. They've been too good to this point. I do think Ole Miss will take a game. Hey, newsflash, Horns fans. Texas isn't going undefeated. They're not. But I do think Texas will win this series. I really do. I think Ole Miss is a really good test out of the gate because it's not you're not playing an elite necessarily, but you are playing a really quality club. It is going to test you. I think Ole Miss is a very dangerous team, but I think Texas finds a way to win 2 or 3. They're so good, man. They're so good, so loaded across the board, complete. But this is the SEC where you can lose ball games no matter how good you are. So give me Texas. We're both going Texas. We've agreed on back-to-back series. Who would have ever thunk it?
Things are getting weird.
Anthony, let's go to the series here in Nashville, Tennessee. Boy, this one is desperation time for both these teams, and we're only in the middle of March. The Vanderbilt Commodores, who are hosting the 13th-ranked LSU Tigers. LSU coming off of losing 2 of 3 to Sacramento State. Yeah, Anthony is repping the hardly home, but always repping the hometown. LSU coming off losing 2 of 3 to Sacramento State. They did bounce back and win the midweek game against Creighton. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt wins 2 of 3 over the last weekend against North Dakota State, but they lose that Sunday game in uninspiring fashion. They did again bounce back in the midweek, but the one time we've seen Vandy, Anthony, against quality competition. They got swept in Vegas. So I think you could pose this question, Anthony, and I don't think it's crazy. Who needs it more? Because both sides, I think, feel like coming in are like, we are desperate. We are absolutely desperate. The panic button, I don't think, has been pushed on either side.
It's close. It's hovering. It's hovering.
You're looking at it, and depending on this weekend, the hand will be hovering. The hand will be hovering. Anthony, let's talk about this. One big question, I think, LSU. Do the bats wake up? I think you feel pretty confident you're going to pitch well enough, right? Like early in the season, I was talking a lot about Case and Evans. Case and Evans has been fine. Are you going to hit? Are you going to hit? Are you going to swing it consistently? Is LSU going to be able to situationally hit? That was the thing I noticed. I watched a little bit of Sacramento State, Anthony, and like it stunned me to see LSU get guys on second and third, less than 2 outs. You can't get a run in. Like, that's crazy to me. Something's got to give this weekend, Anthony. Your thoughts on this series, and I know you'll have a lot to share and a lot of thoughts from the LSU perspective especially.
Yeah, and I see somebody in the comments just said, we have Jay Johnson, end of story. That's what lets me put my head on the pillow as an LSU fan right now tonight, because yesterday I gave you my picks for the weekend, but I really dove in this morning on some like more advanced stats and some things. And I wore my Bayou Bombers hat and my LSU jersey.
You're trying to channel the good vibes. You're trying to channel good vibes.
Chris, the boys need it this weekend. I'm a little nervous. I was feeling like they might sweep, and I thought Vandy was in a weird spot. And I do think Vandy's in a weird spot, but I'm a little concerned about my LSU boys, and here's why. LSU has made 21 errors in 18 games. That is second worst in the SEC, only to South Carolina. Now, LSU also has a 4.74 ERA, which is second or maybe last in the league, I think, in team ERA. So you're telling me that we're going to have the worst ERA in non-conference games, and we're going to make the second most errors in the league, and then we're going to go on the road at Vandy, who has the second most homers in the conference, and they just moved their fences in, and we're going to not give up runs, and our bats are struggling? Chris, I'm nervous. I love my Tigers, but I'm nervous.
It is wild, to your point. I don't have them all pulled up, but there was somebody tweeted out like the stats where LSU ranks, and it's wild to see them ranked 14th, 15th, 16th in some of these stats. I mean, and you talk about the fielding percentage one. This is coming off of a year in which they were the best fielding team in the country, and that was, I believe, the best fielding team by fielding percentage in LSU history.
It was. And that is, I'm telling you right now, in college baseball, I like gambling, right? That is a huge factor in wins and losses when you look at fielding percentage. So again, when we're talking wins and losses and pick them in a weekend, I'm like, oh, LSU's going to win. And then I look at that and I'm like, oh boy, like that's one error and a fly ball to right field, 2 runs in a second, right? In a momentum switch. And that could swing a game in a second. So I don't know. Those are the scary things for me, for LSU and Vandy. You know, they have quality arms. They have as much as I'm nervous about their bullpen for them. They have some leaders out there, some older guys, right? And anytime Fennell starts a game, they're gonna have a chance. So I don't know where Austin Nye is and their health on him. It lies, but I'm not as confident as I was with my LSU boys going into Nashville.
Connor Fennell feels like the perfect guy to shut down this LSU lineup. Just throwing fuzzballs all night long. Just befuddling these LSU hitters who haven't been able to hit it much of anything. Again, you go back to the Creighton game. I mean, hell, they were down 4-1, I think it was, in that ball game before they finally came back.
They were down 4-0 at one point.
And here's the deal I'll say. Jay Johnson, best coach in college baseball. Folks, he can't swing it. He can't field it.
He can't actually go take the
at some point, these players have to take it upon themselves to go out and make the plays. I promise you guys aren't making errors because Jay Johnson has lost his fastball as a coach. So, you know, I hear you. They will be as well prepared as they possibly can be because you have Jay. Yeah, what LSU has done on the field absolutely terrifies me. At the same time, Anthony, I don't trust Vandy all that much either.
I know.
I mean, against quality competition, they have got their shit pushed in.
Yep.
So But I think and I'll tell you this, I think there's more pressure on LSU. I really do. Because
this
was one, you looked at the Vandy schedule for the season, you're like, hey, it might be a tough one. That might be a tough one to win. I know it's at home, but it'd be a tough one to win. So if you lose, it's like, as long as you don't get swept, you're like, hey, it sucks, but a long way to go. If LSU drops this series, Anthony, like, I'm not saying push the panic button, but boy, I'm going to be really worried about it. Now, to be fair, again, we go back a couple years. They started 3-12 in SEC play. They got it turned around. A lot can happen, so don't panic over one weekend. But boy, oh boy, it will be very uncomfortable feelings in Baton Rouge. That being said, Anthony, let's lock in a pick. Does LSU find a way to get it done on the road, or is it Vanderbilt that is adding more salt into the wound for the Tigers?
I think LSU rises to the occasion defensively. I think when we look at the team ERA, right, there's a lot of midweek losses in there. My dog is whining at me, sorry. And I think that might inflate some of the ERA, right? And so I think Kason Evans goes out and he gives them a competitive game on Friday night. I think Cooper Moore bounces back, and then I love the way William Schmidt's throwing the ball on Sunday, and I'll match him up against anybody. So I like LSU to win 2 out of 3 this weekend. And I think if they win 2 out of 3 and they play well defensively, I don't think there's a reason to press the panic button. But to your point, if there's some errors in there and if they lose 2 out of 3, I will not be as confident as I was in the last, like on our last post when I was like, LSU fans, calm down, calm down. If LSU loses 2 out of 3 and there's some errors made, I'm hitting that panic button a little bit.
Anthony, we agree again, and I hate it. And I feel like I'm giving LSU more credit than they deserve, but I agree with you. I think LSU, led by Jay Johnson, finds a way.
Me too.
Somehow, even if it's not pretty, to go win 2 out of 3. I just, the sense of urgency for this LSU ball club has to be through the roof. I mean, it has to be. I'm really curious. I can't wait to watch this one because, again, both sides desperately need it. Both sides have been very lackluster at times. Both sides have shined at times. Something's got to give. I can't wait to watch it play out, but I will go with what I trust a little more right now, Anthony, which still is LSU to come out of their funk. And here's the thing. It's hard for me to not say talent's going to win out because LSU's still vastly the more talented team. And if they click even to 75% of their capability, they will win this series. They will win this series.
So. I agree. And I think that's a solid take. I think don't be surprised, LSU fans, if LSU drops Friday night game against Connor Fennell. His stuff actually matches up. I'm serious. I think his stuff
they will not be relaxed and chilled about that.
But I feel good about Saturday and Sunday. I really do. The matchups. And now if Austin Nye pitches on Saturday, then that's a little nerve-wracking, but I think they win Saturday and Sunday. So
we're both going LSU. All right, let's go to the series, Anthony, in Lexington, Kentucky. Talk about a series flying under the radar. The 21st ranked Kentucky Wildcats host the Alabama Crimson Tide. Kentucky's starting rotation has been one of the best stories in all of college baseball. They have just been flat out dominant, led by Jackson Jelkin, who has just been filthy. What do we get out of Ben Cleaver this weekend? Got to be really interesting. But in his time he's pitched, he's been really good for them. Anthony, we got a pair of studs on display this weekend. Justin LeBron from the Bama side, Tyler Bell, who thankfully is back for the Kentucky Wildcats. He'll be ready, good to go again. I think this is the underrated series of the weekend. You could call it, Anthony. Your thoughts on Kentucky and Alabama? Again, I think this one's going to get overlooked a little bit unfairly, but should be a good one at Kentucky Proud Park. What stands out to you when these two take the field against each other?
Yeah, this one's a tough one for me because I like both teams, and I think both teams were a little bit of a shock when I picked them as high as I did. So this series is a tough one for me to pick ultimately, but I like Kentucky's pitching advantage, I think, against Alabama. I was critical of you being hard on Tyler Fay and Zane Adams But looking at their numbers, I'm like, I'm a little concerned the more I look at them. And again, I've watched them, so the eye test feels better. But again, their competition is not been SEC, right? So that's the biggest test for me with Tyler Bell back in the lineup. We've seen a different Kentucky team the last 4 games, right? So I'm a little torn. And Alabama's lineup, I think, is better than what they're showing even offensively, because I think they're at the bottom of the batting average, spot and the slug spot. So it'll be interesting to see against a good Kentucky staff how Alabama bats, fare. So this will be an interesting series to me, and I think I'll get a lot of answers from both teams after the series, but I'm very, very excited to watch it from a baseball standpoint. I think it's going to be a really fun series, like analytically too, for me.
Yeah, the pitching staff for Kentucky, how they handle a Bama lineup. I mean, really, it's just don't let Justin LeBron beat you. I mean, I think if you're Kentucky,
Brady Neal's having a good little sneaky year right in front of him too, the LSU boy that transferred. So he's But yeah, other than that, it's like,
is Alabama going to have enough? And I mean, really, it comes down to, for me, Anthony, which pitching staff do I trust more? And it is still Kentucky. Pick for the weekend. Who takes it, Cats or Crimson Tide?
I picked Crimson Tide when you and I were talking yesterday, but I was doing some more digging. But I'm still going with my Crimson Tide. I like the little upset. I think Jackson Jelkin wins on Friday, but the question marks with Ben Cleaver on Saturday and how long he'll go. Now, if he goes 6 or 7 innings, we talked about it last show, right? And he strikes out 10, that completely switches the series. But he hasn't gone more than 5 innings yet this year, so that's interesting to me. And then Nate Harris is coming off in a very bad start after having a really good start before that. So that's a question mark for me. And so for me, I'm going Alabama. Give me Tyler Fay and Zane Adams coming off decent starts, their last ones, especially Tyler Fay striking out 11. So he's been throwing the ball better. I'm excited about that matchup on Friday night, but give me the Crimson Tide, as weird as that feels. But
Anthony, I'm going to go Kentucky. Give me the home team. I like the pitching staff of Kentucky to put their foot on the throats, if you will, of Alabama. I think they suffocate Bama into submission. Dare I say, could be a sweep. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if Kentucky swept Alabama at home. We'll see. Should be a fun series again. I think it is the underrated series of the weekend. Yeah. Anthony, let's go to Como Taylor Stadium. How about it? The Missouri Tigers are hosting the 6th-ranked Auburn Tigers. Mizzou has won 13 games in a row in baseball. Who would have ever thought? Not you, not I, not any
baseball.
Of us. In baseball. Let me clarify. In baseball. Can Missouri bottle up what they've done to this point, continue their magical run? Auburn's lineup looks just unstoppable, especially what they've done in the midweek. It was so many different guys: Bub Terrell, Chase Fralick, Chris Rembert. It's just keep going down the list of dudes who have been swinging it so well. And obviously their pitching staff's been phenomenal as well, led by Jake Marcion on Fridays. I will say this, Anthony. I want to get your thoughts on this. Weird things happen at Taylor Stadium. Weird, strange. I checked the weather for the weekend, by the way. It's probably as good a weather as they've had this point in the year in Como in quite some time. It's like mid-60s, which is crazy. Thoughts on this series? Can Missouri do the unthinkable, or is Auburn just too good?
I think they can absolutely do the unthinkable. Their pitchers, too, have been a really nice surprise with Pimentel, McDevitt, I think is how you say it, and then Kellenbrecht. Kellenbrecht had a really nice start his last outing. And again, none of their guys are overpowering arms, but they get swings and misses and they get outs. So for me, which one of those play out for all 3 games, right? Do they get 2 out of 3 games where their guys can fool them enough where they can keep Auburn off balance? I don't know, but I think Auburn's starting pitching is something that Missouri just hasn't seen yet this year for a 3-game series, So I think in a 3-game series, I think Auburn's pitching and hitting combo, I think ultimately wins, but Mizzou is hot, right? They came back in that game against UIC when they were down 12-2 or 12-1 or whatever. So again, momentum is a really big beast in this. and they're playing at home, and if the weather is good, some weird shit might happen. I don't know. But I kind of trust Auburn, and I like their starters a little bit more for the upside than Mizzou's starters. And I don't know too much about Mizzou's offense, honestly. So I want to see them against some legit SEC arms, and then I'll be able to have a better take, honestly, on Mizzou.
Anthony, one of two things is going to happen this weekend in my mind. Number one, Missouri is truly a Cinderella story, and they are going to take this series and win 2 of 3. Or Auburn is going to prove that the glass slipper still doesn't fit, and they are going to beat the shit out of Missouri in all 3 games. One of two is going to happen.
I'm going to be honest.
Say it again.
They're midweek. So Auburn's midweek where they spanked, was it UAB?
UAB. Yeah.
That gives me a little bit of scare for Missouri, because like if they would have lost that game or limped into that game winning 3-2 or something, I would have been like, yeah, Mizzou might do it. But Auburn's swinging the bats a little. I don't know.
Anthony, I'm buying into the magic. I'm picking Missouri to beat Auburn in the upset. Hey, you know what? Let me be honest with you. One of the reasons I'm doing it, how many opportunities am I going to get this season where picking Mizzou actually makes sense? This isn't a crazy pick, which I'm honestly I love that we're talking about this series as like this could actually happen, because most of the time it's a pipe dream, right? So I'm going with Mizzou. Magical weekend at Taylor Stadium. Weird things happen there. Auburn gets upended. Auburn gets upset. Give me MIZ. And listen, if Auburn goes out and throttles them for 3 games, I probably won't pick Mizzou to win another series all season. So let me have this. Let me have this while I can. I'm going MIZ. You're going Auburn. Boy, if I get this one right, if I get this one right over you, I'm gonna flaunt this one for quite a while. I'm just gonna.
And you should. I'm the leader of the bandwagon for Mizzou, so like I'll gladly take all the heat and wear it absolutely if Mizzou takes 2 out of 3. And again, I think they definitely win the Saturday game. I just think let's see what happens on Friday and Sunday. Can one of Mizzou's starters shut down Auburn and keep them in the game? And then does home field advantage come into play? I don't know, but. Again, I'll take all the heat if Mizzou winds up winning 2 out of 3 against Auburn. Absolutely.
All the heat from all those Missouri baseball fans that are going to want to come at Anthony Ranaudo. All right, final series, Anthony. The 23rd ranked Florida Gators hosting the South Carolina Gamecocks down in Gainesville. I think the big question for Florida, listen, it's weird, right? Because you lose 2 or 3 to High Point. You probably should have got swept if not for High Point imploding on themselves in the final 2 innings. You then come out in the midweek and you beat your rival Florida State, which I think all of us would consider a quality win. I know it's the midweek, but still, you bounce back the right way. You get that big win. Here comes South Carolina, Anthony, who can't seem to do much of anything right. They're coming off a midweek loss of their own to the Citadel, who was 5-8 at the time. I understand for the Gamecocks that want to crow that the Citadel had faced ranked competition. My, oh my, how far the program is falling if we're justifying losing to the Citadel. Thoughts on this series, Anthony? Again, I hate to put it any other way. Anything can happen in the SEC. It feels like a get-right weekend for the Gators. And here's the thing that I think is going to have a lot of the Gators' attention and why one of the reasons they're going to be locked in. Florida started 1-11 in SEC play last year and had to claw their way out of the cellar to make the postseason. What a great opportunity for Florida to kick the door down in SEC play, start off the right way, and obviously avoid that 1-11 start and build some momentum early on in conference play.
Yeah, this is this doesn't feel good for my Maneri soft spot. This could be ugly for South Carolina this weekend, and this could get really ugly really fast, in my opinion. I don't like where South Carolina is. You lose that game going into this weekend, and Florida has some vengeance on their ass after a weekend series. And now I knew that they struggled last year to start the year, but I didn't know it was 1-11. So if you sweep this series, yeah, that's crazy. You could have 3 wins, and if you didn't have 3 wins for a whole month in the SEC last year, That's a way different start to your season. And I think Kevin O'Sullivan will be pushing the boys to sweep this series. Like, I don't think it'll even be like a 2-1 would be a disappointment. I do believe for them.
Yeah, unfortunately for South Carolina fans, Anthony, I think that the Gamecocks are going to be kind of that sacrificial lamb throughout SEC play where it's like, hey, if you need a feel-good weekend, oh, good. South Carolina's on your schedule next weekend. You'll have an opportunity to beat up on somebody and feel really good about yourself. We did have a comment earlier in the show. Here we go. Travis says, Chris and Anthony, do you think Alex Philpott could end up in South Carolina starting weekend rotation? He threw 24 pitches before getting yanked in the first inning. He showed good velocity. Thoughts? I think he started Tuesday is what he's talking about. I mean, listen, okay. I think for South Carolina, it's all hands on deck. Here's what's interesting, Anthony. Alex Philpott was at Florida last year. So
really?
if he pitches this weekend or, God forbid, gets a start, yeah, I mean, it'll be certainly an interesting dynamic when it comes to Alex Philpott.
That'll be really interesting. Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to look up his synergy pitch.
This South Carolina team, you could argue they're dangerous in some ways. I think the Logan Sutter kid, if he gets going, the Bach kid who plays in the outfield, Talmadge Lecroy has to be a leader for them. Yep. I do question if South Carolina is going to have enough on the mound to shut down what I think is a pretty potent Florida lineup. But then again, you saw Florida against High Point, and it's like, what version of Florida do we get? Was that a one-off weekend? Or is that a sign of concern and things to come? Anthony, your thoughts on this weekend, your pick for Florida, South Carolina?
Yeah, I just watched a few pitches of Philpott. He looks pretty electric. He does. Looks like he yanks the ball a little bit. So I don't know why he only threw 24 pitches, but I don't think he would be getting a start against Florida just by, again, I watched 5 pitches. But, yeah, I don't know. I think, again, this is a sweep for Florida. I think it's a 3-0 weekend for them. I think it's a get-right weekend for them. I really do. Like, Aiden King, I think, is going to be this is huge for him, in my opinion. He hasn't given up an earned run this year, but he's given up like 9 or 10 runs and hasn't pitched, really past the 5th inning. So I think that's a get right for him. That'll be a really big win for them if he can go 5 or 6 innings and put them in a position to win. And then who's the Walls kid? Is he the Sunday starter?
Yeah, Cooper Walls. Yeah, he's a Sunday guy.
Walls, yeah. So again, I think this is a weekend for them to build off of their starters, getting in there, getting 5 or 6 innings. And starting off in the SEC 3-0, I really do. So if South Carolina wins a game, I think that's a let's go home and pound our chest, South Carolina. We're excited about getting a win in Gainesville. I really do. I hate, how much I love Maneri and love his team, but that's just reality right now.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you're Florida, you need to lock in on getting a sweep. I really do. Yeah, I think you come out of this weekend to the point. I think you come out of this weekend disappointed. If you don't sweep. I really do. I don't think you look at it as a successful weekend. I think Liam Peterson sets the tone on Friday. I think that Florida lineup Saturday and Sunday are going to have a field day with a depleted South Carolina pitching staff. Yeah, give me Florida to win the series. I think Florida does sweep as well. It wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if the Gators dropped the game because unfortunately their inconsistencies at times lead you to believe that could happen. But I'm not letting the one high point weekend deter me from how good I think this Florida team is. You have to still remember, like, the Miami weekend happened. Let's keep that in mind. Let's keep perspective. But a big weekend for the Gators, no doubt. And if you're South Carolina, if you can, like you said, Anthony, go in and just steal one, I think you're looking at that as a massive win for you. On that note, Anthony, we just broke down each and every single SEC series, locked in our picks. Voila! The Pick'em graphic that will go out on social media is officially here. Each and every single one of our selections, all of you great people on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter that are tuned in live, get you a gander at it. Those listening via podcast, you will see it on social media. But
that's again, a sick graphic.
This is a graphic that is going to break the internet, Mr. Ranaudo. We are going to get some really, really fun feedback all throughout the season. And after weekend number 1, Anthony, we are going to have our records displayed on this. So starting next week, we'll see. We'll be able to stack up who's sitting where when it comes to record, when it comes to predictions. And you and I are going to go head to head all season long. So going to be a ton of fun. Really excited for that. Again, we appreciate each and every single one of you for your love and your support. Guys, we're going to take a few questions. Before we do, really quickly, just want to highlight and tell you about our friends over at Game Time. If you are going out to a game this weekend, make sure you download the Game Time app, use promo code SCCU, $20 off your first purchase. Again, not just college baseball, college basketball, MLB, NHL, NBA, concerts, comedy club events. Doesn't have to be sports. Whatever you need tickets to, use our friends over at Game Time, the best ticket buying app on the market. Download the app, promo code SCCU, $20 off your first purchase. And again, we appreciate our friends over at Game Time for their love and support of the show. We'll take a few questions if there are any. Let's see. Obi Kenobi says Georgia played Wright State and Kennesaw, who both of y'all said were good teams, but they're not good teams when they play Georgia. They're not bad teams, but they're not really, really, really good teams. They're not SEC teams. They're not SEC caliber teams.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Wright
they're good
State
mid-major teams.
Right. And Wright State is not who they normally are every year, so they're a little banged up this year. And Kennesaw, it's a good program, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're, to Chris's point, SEC caliber quality. And they only faced them, I guess they played Wright State in a weekend series, but you only played Kennesaw in midweek, I think, right? So, again, this is a 3-game series against a really good pitching staff, so it's going to be a little different. Just reality.
Jay Sully says that you better wear a Missouri jersey if Missouri wins the series.
I will go buy a Missouri. That is a promise. Missouri wins the series. I'll be on Monday with a Missouri jersey. That's
okay. No take backs because I want to see that too.
No take backs.
No take backs. Let's see. LJ baseball. I don't know much about Florida's offense. I know Lawson, but is there depth in the lineup? Yeah, I think there is. I mean, I think the Surwick kid's really good. That transferred in from Ole Miss. He's been kind of a cornerstone of the offense. Kyle Jones at the very top. Really like his game as well. So it's more than Brendan Lawson. I will say that Brendan Lawson has been on a tear. So
I like their offense. I like their offense.
Yeah. Texas Rocks, by the way, apparently thinks you stole my clothes. I don't know why they're saying that. I can't tell you the last time because you're an LSU I can't fan. Tell you the last time I wore a tank top. I'll be honest with you. Like I fuck with the fit. I really do. I think they know it's because I would wear something like that. But I mean,
we have similar style, I think. Like, I love a jersey. I love a jersey, like for going when it's like nice weather. We actually have like 60-degree weather in Michigan today. So it's like, I got to be able to rock it a little bit. Yeah.
Wow. How about that? That is a reason to celebrate. I'd rock the jersey. So I don't hate the player, hate the game. Bo says with Hakopian and Jordan return to the Aggies lineup, does Oklahoma's pitching match up against the Aggie bats? You tend to think so, obviously, Anthony. That's going to be a really fun matchup. Good on good. Good on good. Let's see. May the best man win.
It's going to be a test. Yeah, that's literally a test. I think it's, again, a guy that's really emerging as a Friday night ace and could be a first rounder versus one of the best offenses in the SEC, right? So that's one of the ones that if we were 30 games in the SEC, we'd be sitting at home with our popcorn, I think. So that's what I'm going to be doing this weekend.
Let's take one or two more, and then we'll go ahead and call it. I know we've been on here for almost an hour and a half now. Again, time flies when you're having fun. Really, truly. It's
Dude, this is what we've been waiting for.
Yeah, this is absolutely what we have been waiting for. Todd to Texas says Bama needs to prove they can beat a ranked team like an Oregon State. I mean, they got that big win over Oregon State, and they looked good in that tournament in Frisco. So Again, like I said, I think Kentucky-Alabama that's the most sneaky, underrated series of the weekend. That's going to be a really fun one. So
yeah, I'm excited.
Both of those teams are teams that middle of the pack SEC teams that I think if you looked up and said, they're hosting a regional, you wouldn't be shocked. Like I think both of those, you would not be shocked if that were to happen. So, yeah. All right. That being said, let's go ahead and close it out. We've been on here long enough. Anthony, really appreciate you taking the time. Appreciate you all commenting, engaging, showing love and support to the show. At long last, conference play is officially here, Anthony. We don't have to talk about Slapdick State anymore and pretend like we're excited because a team hit 15 home runs against a nobody. No, I'm just kidding. That's a running joke.
Don't rile up the Georgia fans. Don't do that.
Hey, now everybody, blank
even
slate, blank canvas, even playing field. Let's see what you're all about. Let's see what you're all about. Now we're going to find out.
Boys.
We're going to find out. We're going to find out what you're all about. Guys, quick reminder, Friday Night Spikes tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central. Obviously going to be a really, really fun one with this SEC slate that we've got on deck. Going to be a great Friday night, as it always is in conference play. In the meantime, that's going to do all for us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across your favorite social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. Check out Anthony Ranaudo at Anthony_Ranaudo. What's the site again, one more time?
RanaudoWrites.com.
RanaudoWrites.com. All the great work you're doing, obviously, with the pitcher rankings, the weekend breakdowns, all that good stuff, all the other stuff in between as well. Anthony's doing a great job with his content. Check me out at CPhilly19. And again, stay tuned to Glue Guys, the best SEC baseball show on the internet. One of the best college baseball shows on the internet, dare I would say. So, again, for Anthony Ranaudo, I'm Chris Phillips. We appreciate you all tuning in, guys. Enjoy conference play this weekend, and we'll see you all tomorrow night on Friday Night Spikes. Cheers.